Welcome back to Spectrum Days, the podcast where we ruin our childhood memories of games we used to play. With me, Chris, and my cousin Phil.
Hello.
Hello. So, what game are we going to try and remember today?
We're remembering possibly the best sports personality of all time. The game that actually made you sweat, whilst the character himself was also sweating. It made you out of breath. The same time, it made him out of breath. It's not Steve Davis.
Davis.
Oh, go on. I can make 'em sweat. You should see my frantic cue action. I can sink 'em in from one end of a full-size snooker table to the other. You don't even need to chalk the tip.
It's not Jonah Barrington. No, it's not Jimmy White. No, it's none of them.
Darts?
It's no, it's not darts. It's Daley Thompson's Decathlon.
This was brilliant.
It was brilliant. I know we say this every time, but this surely is the one. This will be the one where we play it and we come away from it going, yeah, it's still flipping amazing. Surely.
It was amazing at the time.
Yeah.
I think it was the only time I was ever interested in athletics, really. The Daley Thompson era.
The Daley Thompson, which is 1980 to 1984. Because he was in both two Olympics, wasn't it? I say both Olympics. That's the only ones that ever happened.
The only ones, yeah.
It's the only ones. Only one I remember. 1980 and 1984, that was it. The rest of them don't count. Well, yeah, this is where it gets really weird, though, isn't it? Because it's not a new game, is it? It's basically a rip-off of track and field, isn't it? So the game was already there. They didn't really have to do much other than copy this game.
Even more reason they must have rushed it out in time for the Olympics, so that all of us Olympic fans would have gone out and bought it.
I don't know. I'd like someone to. I'd love someone in the comments who knows more about this title than us to let us know when it came out in 1984. Was it a Christmas release? In which case, it would have been a few months after, because the Summer Olympics is in the summer. It's in the name.
Yeah, July,
or did it come out
in August?
Yeah, or did it come out in time for the actual Olympics itself? It'd be interesting to know. I don't recall. I would have been 9, I believe, then.
Before we get into more nostalgia and memories, could I just give a quick shout out to Gary Arnott at Gary Arnott for the thumbnails for Renegade, our last video, and for Desert Strike. Thanks very much, Gary.
I particularly love you for that, Gary, because it's usually me who has to make them, and I do it by banging rocks together. And it really doesn't achieve very much. You appear to have a far better grasp of design than I do. So, yeah, thank you, Gary. It's much appreciated, mate.
So it was, I really do remember playing this one.
It really was huge. It genuinely was a massive hit. I mean, yeah, I put in my notes there. I didn't even need to put it in there, but everyone had it. It's another one of those titles. Everyone had it at some point, either when it came out or much later on, or much to, I'm sure, our friend Clive's chagrin, they probably copied it.
Hello, boys and girls. It's your Uncle Clive here. I just wanted to say that those lads over at Spectrum Days are right. You shouldn't be copying these games. It's destroying the gaming industry, which is making a lot of poor people who make these games very unhappy. Only me here at Sinclair Towers is allowed to copy games tape to tape. But this one, Daley Thompson's Decathlon, is okay for you to copy because, according to the government, it's encouraging exercise. I mean, all you people up and down the country waggling away, getting sweaty. It's good for you and healthy. So this one, but no others. Okay, don't copy Jetpack or Horace and the Jumping Spiders Men. Anyway, on with the show. Bye.
Because it was just one of those titles everybody had. I certainly didn't. I had it a genuine copy of it. Of course.
Yeah, of course. Do you think you had to load each different game? like on each different event rather than game event. So there's 10 different events.
I wonder. Yeah.
We do try and do this bit by memory, but I do have a list of the different events. 100 meters, a long jump, shot put, high jump, and 400 meters. And then day 2, 110 hurdles, pole vault, discus, javelin, and 1,500 meters. So
110 hurdles.
Well, that's actually, that can't be right. That must be a typo in the notes.
No, that just must. I think you'll find that's 110 meters of hurdles. That can't be 110 hurdles, because surely that would be longer than the 1,500 meters. I mean, wow, you wouldn't be looking forward to day 2, would you?
Yeah, you're right.
100 meters day 1. I've done the long jump. I've done the shot put. I've done the high jump. I've done the 400 meters. Tomorrow I've got to start with 110 hurdles before the pole vault. Oh God!
It would take them ages to put them all out as well. And all the stadiums would have to have a huge storeroom. So it might have been 110 meters rather than 110 hurdles.
Yeah, it's 110 meters because the hurdles take up a bit of space, don't they?
Yeah, and they would take ages.
Otherwise, it'd be 100 meters. Yeah,
they'd never. So it seems like a lot of content compared to the Spectrum games we played recently, and it's quite varied because the running ones obviously can reuse the same mechanic, but then the long jump, shot put, high jump, discus, javelin, pole vault. They're all quite, a little bit different. So it's quite a lot of content there. Must have had hours.
Yeah, they're really not, are they? They're really regular. It sounds like they're different, but they're not. It's left, right, left, right, left, right. Press the action button, hold it down till you get 45 degrees and let it go. That is the game.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how it works. It's track and field. I think we did vaguely mention earlier on in our ramblings that it's track and field. It is just track and field. If you don't know what track and field is, it's the same as Daley Thompson's Decathlon.
But it came first.
I think did track and field have swimming in it? Or no, I suppose that's the follow-up, Hypersports. Was it Hypersports had the swimming in it?
Yeah.
But yeah, track and field was, who made track and field? Konami. An arcade game, wasn't it? Track and field. Came out year or two before this.
Yeah.
I think. I have very fond memories of track and field, mainly because it's the only game my dad ever played in the arcade. Apart from those things where you try and grab a teddy bear, which I don't think that really counts, does it?
Did you have to waggle the joystick in the arcade, track and field?
No, it was buttons. No, track and field was buttons, I think, wasn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty 90% sure it was buttons. It was, yes, we could, yes, Producer John is reminding me with Semaphore that, he remembers seeing some enterprising young rapscallions in the in the arcades using a Kinder Egg. And I think if I'm getting this right, use more Semaphore if I'm getting this wrong, Producer John, and then rubbing it across the two keys to get hyper super amazing speedo,
wow.
which my dad would have been very impressed with. But yeah, dad used to play it, but I don't know, he obviously just had the knack and was very, very good at it. And he would have a crowd of kids watching my dad play Hypersports and track and field. He was good at both, and he would get his name in on the list, but he didn't really understand how that worked, so he never get his name was never. It'd just be AAA. Like
I never get my name right.
He was always really annoyed. He could play the game, but beyond that, he's just like, oh god.
So you were saying it was pretty popular in our memories. Most of our friends had it. People played it, and it must have been all over the place in Smith's and John Menzies and all the shops, right? But
yeah. And
then the magazines, have you got any in your vast collection of retro magazines?
Yes and no. I do have some. There's the dedication to the podcast, as I think we probably should be dedicated, because we have a dedicated group of listeners who listen to us and also contributors now, as you gave a shout out to earlier on. I think it only correct that I should do as much due diligence and research as I possibly can. So I have bought, I think, a copy of Sinclair User, which
you think you
has
bought
got I think I've bought it. No, I have definitely bought it. I should probably explain. I'm not in the usual country that I'm in. That sounds very grand, doesn't it? That makes me sound like I'm jet setting around the world, and I'm doing this podcast from my Maui beach resort. But I'm really, really not. It's nothing like Maui, apart from there's lots of old people here, so I suppose that kind of counts. So yeah, I'm not at my usual place of residence. There it is. Sinclair User. Oh, your gosh, Sinclair User actually did give it 8 out of 10. 9th bestseller of 1985.
5?
Yeah. So that's the following year. I mean, we haven't mentioned yet, but there were 2 follow-ups to this, Super Test and Olympic Challenge, all with the Daley Thompson name in it. But yeah, 9th bestseller in 1985. Best arcade game in the Crash Readers Awards. Best arcade style game at the Golden Joystick Awards. Eurogamer put it in the 10 games that defined the Spectrum list in 2017. And as I say, it spawned a couple of follow-ups because, it was so popular, so they made more.
Do you know who made the game or who published it?
This was Ocean that did this.
Are we sure? We normally
we did make a mistake. We did make a mistake last week, I think, last 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks you'll find us here ballsing it up, misremembering everything to do with the ZX Spectrum, even though we all owned one and played one for a million years. We aren't geniuses. We don't remember everything. Terribly sorry. If you're in your kitchen now shouting at us, hello. This game was made by Nintendo and published. It was released by Ocean. It was made by Paul Owens, whose name I didn't remember till researching this, but he made some other games I do remember. He did do the follow-up Super Test. As far as I can tell, he didn't do the third one, Olympic Challenge. I don't think he did that one. Other games you may remember for his Hunchback. Don't know if you remember that one, and also did the follow-up Hunchback 2. Short Circuit, which I do have on cassette, original cassette. Yeah, Grisor. Do you remember Grisor? That was a great game. Vindicator and Dragon Ninja, which I also had Dragon Ninja. But Grisor, that was on a lot of different systems. Yeah. But there we are. He was a good programmer.
I think I remember Dragon Ninja now, seeing that.
Yeah, a really good programmer, but obviously probably most well known, no doubt, for this, because it was simply, as we've already pointed out, a very popular, very well known game. Yeah, I mean, it was popular for a lot of reasons. Yes, it did completely and utterly rip off another game, but that was fairly par of the course, I think, really, for most games back then, wasn't it?
And I don't think we would have even known. Like you said, we were probably 9 and 10 or so when this. I was 10 when it came out, so I wasn't really paying attention to that, was I? But it was.
No, I don't remember thinking, they've just copied. I don't remember that.
I think Daley Thompson was really, really popular, right? He was very hero status. I think he was our main hope and main hero going into the Olympics, was doing really well. And I think everyone wanted to get the game, and then you play it, and it's simple enough. If I remember correctly, it's simple enough. So it's easy to play, easy to get into. Got a bit of a challenge. You could one of those kind of games where you could like get your best score, and then your mate or your family member sits down and they have a go, and so you can get the best score on the 100 meters or whatever. And so it's quite competitive and easy to play, competitive, and you could break joysticks with it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're making that up. Anyone who is these mythical young people that Chris thinks listen to us, it genuinely was much in the same way as back in sort of 2006 when people were throwing their Wii remotes in the television. You know, that sounds like a joke, but the people who were around at the time, well, yeah, it happened. And in fact, that's all filmed. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube of people throwing controllers into their television accidentally because they weren't using the Wii remote strap that Nintendo did tell you to use. So you should know better. But back then, yeah, people were genuinely breaking their Kempstons and cheaters and playing this game. It was, I think now, probably called a waggle fest of a game. I don't know what we called it back then. But
I don't think there are any waggle fests now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the endorsement, isn't it? I mean, that's the big thing, I think, also about this, why we remember, or certainly for me, I think it was one of those first games where I can picture someone that we knew that wasn't, I don't know, like Knight Rider or Frankie Goes to Hollywood, or, you know, there was plenty of other games that had stars in it, but this was a real person, so not a television, it wasn't Airwolf, it wasn't the A-Team, it was a real person who we already were idolising. I think particularly back then, I think a lot of kids were amazed by Daley Thompson. Yeah. And I think decathletes, they are a breed apart, aren't they? I mean, they're like boxers, or, you know, it's the level of dedication and fitness and flexibility. The fact that guy, Daley Thompson's a big guy. He does not look like a long distance runner, or he doesn't look like your normal person who'd be doing pole vault or any, you know, he's got his build is just, he's a big guy, yet he was able to do those amazing power starts of 100-meter running. He was able to do the agility-wise, the hurdles. He was able to do the pole vault, discus, shot put. I mean, you look at other people who do discus and shot put, they're usually quite heavy-set people for the rotation and speed and the lower center of gravity, all these different things. So to have someone who's able to do all those things and do them amazingly, and as I say, and still have records to this day, to have someone like that then on a game was pretty unheard of. I mean, I don't know, obviously dates and things. I mean, I don't know what came later. You had, like we were joking about earlier on, Steve Davis, and there was Jimmy White, was it Whirlwind Snooker? And you did then have a lot of, you know, sports stars.
I played a lot of Emlyn Hughes International Soccer.
Yeah,
on the Commodore 64. My mate's house. Played a lot.
I think that was 85, 86. I mean, that was arse. I mean, I remember Jonah Barrington squash. Like, no one knows who Jonah Barrington is.
What do you mean you don't remember me? I'm one of the top players in one of the most interesting sports on the planet. I've got my own ZX Spectrum game. I completed it.
But yeah, Jonah Barrington squash, that came out 85, so that was after. So quite a lot of the other, whether this, I might be totally making this up, but I got a funny feeling this game spawned a lot of other sports endorsement. You know, it encouraged other companies to go, wow, you know, get some sports person involved in our sports game title. It's going to make it go massive. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
It does seem to be that Steve Davis Snooker came out in 1984 as well.
Right. Oh, so the same time. That's interesting. Okay.
God, no, that was a good game.
Yeah, brilliant.
It looks a bit simpler. I'm looking at a picture. It looks a little bit simpler than I can remember. But everything I
mean, it's not 3D.
Everything I know about playing pool and snooker came from that game. You know, that was the origins. I love that game.
That was just old school top down. It wasn't like Jimmy White's Whirlwind, because Whirlwind
that was on 3D, the Amiga, right?
That was 3D, wasn't it? That was all. You could chalk the cue and. So yeah, whether it did, it must have encouraged other production houses.
Who knows?
Imagine.
Did you find out how he got paid for it? Did he get given a Spectrum or?
Yeah, I think he got a Spectrum and $3,000. Yeah, I think that's the normal payment for anyone back then. He's still got it. He's still got it. Daley's he's still got his Specky.
Yeah, I don't know, but I bet the fun of it was like, oh, I got a high score. Can you beat this?
Yeah, I think that was
like
it was all
California games kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of games were back then, weren't they? It was about getting a high score and getting your name on the thing.
Well, if we can't remember much else, then do you think it's that time?
I'm itching to get my joystick out, waggle it left and right as fast as possible, and at the right moment, press the button. Bob's your uncle. In the sandpit, over the vault, you've thrown your javelin, you've launched your shot put. It's time to press pause and play along with us as we have a go at Daley Thompson on the Spectrum. If you are watching us on the YouTube channel, you will find there's a link below so you can join in with us. You can join in with us and play Daley Thompson's Decathlon. And don't worry, we will come back in a few seconds. And you'll come back in a few seconds. You'll come back in a few seconds. We'll come back in a few days and let you know what we thought of Daley Thompson's Decathlon. So please do join in. And we'll see you then. And it's day 2 here of the 1984 Summer Olympics in the sunny city of Los Angeles. We had a wonderful opening ceremony yesterday, started by our lovely president, Ronald Reagan. And today, it's the time of the decathlon. That plucky chap from Brit, Daley Thompson, got gold 4 years ago. Will he manage it again this year? What do you think, Chris? Does Daley deserve gold?
Can you win gold if you're asleep?
Well, that's too big of a pause. I'm assuming you thought it was too hard and boring. I'm assuming that's... Did you complete it?
Yeah. I completed 2 days, yeah.
This is the first game we've ever completed then, is it?
Well, that's true, yeah. That is true.
Actually, we've done it. We can end the podcast, everybody. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks.
We have finally completed a Spectrum game. Brilliant. There we are. Well, there we are. That's good.
Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Does it matter if I didn't qualify for high jump?
You didn't manage the high jump?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still on the...
We're in a bit of a breakthrough here, folks. Chris actually did send me some footage of him playing the game. Which is something I noticed whilst playing this, which I suspect Chris might also bring up, that playing this on your own is a bit limited. And once you've completed it and got gold on day 1 and then day 2, all you're really left with is scores. Because you sent me some of your footage, I'm going to put my footage on the screen at the same time so that we can actually have a competition and see who ran the fastest, threw their balls the fastest, got their javelins the furthest, and landed in the sandpit the furthest, and all that. I got a magazine here, Sinclair User, from 1984, and this is their review, and I agree with it.
Right.
And I think this pretty much sums it up. Ocean, they got it right. Ocean continues its policy of bringing out amusement arcade games under license with a superb version of the popular track and field, which, let's face it, that's exactly what this game is. All 10 events are represented and played with a dedication. The full game is a grueling exercise indeed. The graphics are large and colourful, sort of. Each event has a qualifying time, and the 10 are split over 2 days, one on each side of the cassette. Not something that we had a problem with reviewing it using an emulator, but back then that would have been quite annoying. Each event, blah, 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 blah. If you fail to qualify 3 times, you're then out for the day. If you successfully complete the first day, you can go round again with higher qualifying times until your 3 lives are gone, or you go mad.
Really?
Some of the ends are very tough, particularly the 400-meter sprint. In order to qualify, you must pump the joystick backwards and forwards as fast as you can to maintain speed. After about 200 metres, the wall of pain sets in. By a cruel trick, the 400 metres is the last event of the first day, and the 100 metres is the first. So if you're still in the game, you will immediately have to race the 100 metre just when your arm is ready to drop off. The second day is more gentle, winding up with a 1,500 metres, which requires strategy and restraint if you're not to run out of energy too soon. All the events are reasonably easy to play, apart from the high jump, which appears next to impossible.
Yeah, definitely.
Getting a decent score is, of course, another matter. Arcade conversions do not always work on the small screen. Daley Thompson's Decathlon is an exception and captures the spirit of the competition.
Really?
It was £6.90 when it came out, and it got a Gilbert factor of 8.
Well,
so they gave it 8.
8. I guess maybe back in.
I agree with the comments. I agree with the way they've described it there.
Yeah.
The way the events are, and the fact that you do have to load a whole other day, which is basically a whole other game. It's basically a cassette with 2 games on it. Day 1 on one side, day 2 on the other, which I'd totally forgotten that was what it was. Yeah. I assumed it was all in one thing.
Coming back to the game in question, as soon as you play it, I remember, and you could feel like, I remember this game, and I definitely, it brings it back. But it's just, I can't remember it being so boring. And as you say, maybe it's just one of those games where we would have played with the family, friends, and you would challenge each other, and it would be hysterical seeing the other person like bowling over in pain as they're crying as they've done the 400 metres for the 10th time that afternoon. Yeah. Or we'd probably all be laughing as everyone fails the high jump as well.
Yeah, which is very difficult, but I did manage.
Did you?
I'm not sure whether we mentioned I'm not sure whether we mentioned this is the first time you've actually sent some footage.
Yeah, you mentioned this already about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, did we? We've had some trouble with the podcast this evening, folks.
Issues,
which I'm sure producer John has edited out all evidence of it wrong. So I'm sure it'll seem seamless to all of you listening or watching. But Chris has sent some footage over. So on the screen, hopefully now, if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing his footage. I'll put his name.
Whoever's got the highest score, that's me.
Yeah, no. I shall be honest, and I'll put the correct name by the correct footage.
I'm just going to look on YouTube now and find some fantastic playthrough and send you that. What is the?
Because then we'll get flagged. I'll know if you've done that.
Basically, the long jump, the javelin, and the shot put, and I guess the discus. What is the optimal? What is the optimal angle?
45 degrees, isn't it?
Yeah. 42%. Yeah, 42 for me. Well, that was such a good idea, because in my memory, Daley Thompson was a great game. It was fun.
It is a great game, and it is fun.
And I've just played it, and it is neither of those.
Did you play the other ones? Hopefully now, again, if you're watching
Day 2,
YouTube, I will show you the other ones. No, the other games, the other Daley Thompson games.
No. Of course I didn't.
Those are much better.
Of course I didn't.
Those were much better.
This is an episode about Daley Thompson's Decathlon. I wouldn't spoil future episodes by playing those games in case.
I can guarantee everybody, Chris is not going to want to play the other games after playing this.
I want to play can we play a good game? One of those games that make me really mad, because this didn't even make me mad. It didn't even make me angry. It was like where Exploding Fist was like, yeah, it's got something zen about it. Manic Miner was genius. Ghouls and Ghosts and R-Type I hated because they were so difficult. Shinobi's really tricky and difficult, those stupid logs. But this was just a bit. That's 2 games in a row, which are a bit.
But we actually, the funny thing is with the other games, pretty much that list you just said then, you didn't necessarily like them because they were quite hard.
No, I mean.
But whereas this game, we actually both got to the end of it.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Do you know what I mean? That's the trouble. I'm just emphasizing what you're saying about it being boring. Is that actually you just go through it?
Yeah, maybe it is too easy.
Day 1, 4 events or whatever it is, you go through it, and if you then think, oh well, I'll play day 2, which back then would have mean loading the damn thing in, playing day 2 and doing the same again.
Well, maybe it was more of a challenge on that. Maybe the balancing of the game, right? The difficulty level was all balanced based on the hardware. So I was using a mechanical keyboard with cherry keys. So so maybe that was much easier.
What's cherry keys?
Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
I got that one of those. With a nice keyboard?
What's cherry keys?
The type of micro switches.
Right. Sorry, that's very modern and technical. I've never heard of such a word, cherry keys.
They're called cherry keys, aren't they? Oh, now you're going to make me look.
Are they? No, I believe you. That's not a doubt. That's just incredulous. It's like, wow, I've never heard of.
Yes, Cherry's MX switches are widely considered to be the gold standard of PC keyboard switches.
Gold standard.
There you go. So I'm using the gold standard of keys.
That they wouldn't have had those.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, if this was balanced, thinking of the ZX Spectrum rubber keyboard, and you could just tap those keys, maybe it would just be that little bit closer because there's no challenge. It's like if your first time you played 100 meters, you should miss it by a little bit, so it makes you want to do it again and again. But because I'm using the gold standard in keyboards today, it must have just been too easy.
It's because we're not using joystick. I already said it, man. We should be using a joystick.
Or a rubber Spectrum keyboard. I mean, imagine a spongy.
Imagine playing this on rubber keys.
That's what I'm saying. I bet that's what we did a bit on the sponginess.
I'm trying to remember whether I played this on a 48 or on the 128. I can't remember, but I remember using it with a joystick. I didn't. I don't know. I think this is the first time I've ever played it with keys.
We're using the gold standard keys.
The gold standard joystick would have been back in the day.
But I mean, and as usual, there was no tutorial. I mean, we knew how to play it because we played it back in the day.
I was going to say it was very familiar. Yeah.
But someone we know may not have remembered the 1,500 meters or the 1,500.
With the sort of, you have to conserve energy.
Yep. So you don't go. I mean, I must admit, the first time I did it, I did go in fingers blazing, tap,
straight into the red.
Oops, used up all the energy. And
did you record that? Is that what you sent me on the recorded footage?
Yeah, that's day 2. I haven't sent you that yet. I still got time to do it again.
No, doing a go through. Do again. So a do over. I want the original crap version.
Yeah,
please.
I didn't even finish it. He gave. I killed Daley before he could even finish it. Yeah. Did you remember that one? What to do?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that. I think that was the big thing about this game. I remembered absolutely everything about it, and there wasn't really any surprises. Yeah. And it's funny, interesting, producer John, the person who's not really there that everyone doesn't believe in.
He's ChatGPT.
That's right. Yeah, he was nicknamed him Producer John. He was very surprised and pleased about the javelin disappearing off past the scoreboard and off the top of the screen, which I'd remembered. Yeah. And I hope again people are watching the YouTube channel if I haven't mentioned 6 times already. I did also take some footage of the arcade game that this is obviously based on, track and field. Am I saying the right one, or was it hypersports? No, track and field. And that's what the javelin does in that. So, I mean, this game is so exactly a copy of track and field. It's just unbelievably good. It really, I mean, we're sounding very down on the game. But
it's unbelievely good. What,
yeah,
this game?
As a copy of track and field, the way that it's made is it's very much exactly the same game, which is pretty impressive.
It's not as, it's not as impressive as Renegade.
No, I don't think. No, Renegade was not the same as the arcade version.
It was better. The Spectrum version was better.
It was better.
It was better.
Yeah, that's different. This Daley Thompson's is exactly the same as the arcade version of Track and Field, even including that big circle of putting your name in that goes around and round, putting your name in. It's all the same. So, I mean, it is very much a good copy of the arcade game, but I enjoyed playing the arcade Track and Field more. I played it on Main. Right. I enjoyed playing that more than I did Daley Thompson, and I cannot for the life of me tell why, because it's exactly the same blooming game. Why did I enjoy that more? Is this a whole memory thing? Is this whole nostalgia thing?
Well, so Javelin was your favourite, did you say? Or pole vault was?
No, that's John's.
Difficult. Javelin.
John's. He loves a bit.
What was your favourite
then?
I did like the Javelin. That was okay. I mean,
I liked all.
I was going to say, the more we talk about it, and the farther we get away from me of actually playing it, sounds quite good again. It's probably really good.
In 40 years' time, you'll swear blind it was the best game you ever played.
Yeah.
On the anniversary of this episode in 40 years' time, we'll come back to this.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, I know. Now I'm trying to think about it. I can't bring myself to say it was just not very good, but it just did.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant for the first time that you play it.
Yeah.
Then all you're doing is going round again, which now seems pointless. Back then, it seemed good. Now it just okay, I've done it. I've got gold. Yeah. I've got still got 3 lives left. I'm not sitting here for another half an hour going round and round playing the same 4.
I mean, I guess games design has matured a lot over the years. It was we saw. You passed me that video of Matthew Smith, the programmer for Manic Miner. We've already talked about Magic Miner, and in Manic Miner, one thing I don't think we even pointed out, he was only 17 when he programmed that, which is amazing. But he even says in that interview, he said, "Oh yeah, I made the first level really difficult and frustrating so that the players wouldn't have to get to further levels to experience the frustration."
To see what the game was. That's wonderful. I mean, it's just very British, isn't it? Well, people might not have time. So if I make the first level like the last level, there we are. You've seen the game, really. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's just a general kind of like rudimentary beginnings of games design, I suppose. And I guess that's what I'm kind of complaining about here. It just felt too easy. The 100 meters, of course, the high jump was that was way too difficult. But maybe it's because I'm using the gold standard keys, as we've mentioned, gold standard in keyboards.
It does help.
So I don't think there's much more to say really.
No, it's a bit sad, isn't it? Really.
I mean, we've talked about the crowd. They're the only things that make any sort of sound. The crowd screaming, going wild when you finished an event.
Screaming, yeah. They said.
The music's
it's like they're moaning.
The music's quite good at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Come by.
Music's quite good.
Come by.
We mentioned day 2.
2 completely disconnected games. Well, they go.
I so don't remember that as a kid having to load the second. I really don't remember that. But there we are.
We must have done it. Imagine that. Maybe your mate would come round. You go, let's play Daley Thompson's. And you go, what? But day 1 or day 2?
Yeah. I mean, would we have done that? Would you have naturally gone, oh, no, 1 and then 2? Or would we have just gone, oh, let's mix it up, play 2, then 1? Wow. There obviously can't have been anything on ITV Kids Telly at that moment if that was your choice after school. Wow, day 1 or day 2, which should we do?
They were good choices back in the day. Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed you didn't play the other games, man. His other epics were much better.
Which ones on the Spectrum?
Yeah, the other 2, there was 3 in total. You weren't tempted to play the other ones. Mm. They're great. They got guns in and everything.
No.
There is. Yeah, it's shooting. Yeah, target shooting, and yeah. The other ones are much better.
This one did not inspire me to look into. You're telling me there's a trilogy?
It is a trilogy.
Oh, my word.
And in the third one, he gets back to Gondor, and there's the ring, and the Philosopher's Stone, and there's Hermione. And Luke Skywalker comes in on his light cycle, and yeah. And everything's well again.
Do you go
never-ending story.
Do you go skiing in it? No, I was not inspired to look into those at all. At all. No.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Wasn't feeling this one.
Well, that's it, folks. I think we've exhausted our Daley Thompson fingers. Yeah. I've now got sores on at least 2 of my fingers, and that's not from playing this game. So, yeah, what did you think of Daley Thompson's? Did you join in and play it with us? Did you click on the link and have a go? And have you played the other ones? Have you played the ones that Chris hasn't bothered to? Please do let us know in the comments. We'd be very interested to hear what you think. And please do let us know about future games that you'd like us to cover. And talking of which, what are we going to be covering next time?
Well, this one is going to be brilliant. It's a classic. I'm sure this one's good.
Please don't big it up too much.
No, this one has got to go in with, the 2 best games we've covered so far, which I'm sure we agree. Ooh. I'm sure we agree with. Ooh. The 2 best so far have been Manic Miner and Where the Exploding Fist. So the next game we're going to cover is Jetpack.
Jetpack. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Something good at last.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Well,
I seem to remember that being quite a large game where you aren't just going round and round doing the same thing. So I expect this will be good.
No, I think you're mixing it up with Airwolf there.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Well, there we are, folks. That was Daley Thompson's Decathlon. Join us next time for Jetpack. As I expect Chris calls it Jetpack, I should think. It's a strange way of speaking. And we'll see you all then. Please do like and subscribe and share with all your friends if you've got any. If you haven't got any and you're like us, just watch it again twice around, just like Decathlon. We'll see you next time. Bye. I think. Tell me when. Go. You can email us at hello@spectrumdays.com, and you can contact us on Twitter @SpectrumDaysPod. And you can also find us on YouTube just by looking up Spectrum Days.